Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Hello and welcome to IMP's AEW Adventures podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Help the network out by leaving us a 5-star review, give a donation directly through Red Circle, and become one of the amazing community by joining the Social Suplex Discord. Link is in the description. Read the Social Suplex newsletter. Shout out to Trish and Tim as always, and to every person who's contributed so far. Listen to the other top-notch shows here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, Trish and Sarah, Total Talk, Sam Brown's AEW Match Guide, and Joshing Around. My name is Matt Mayer, aka Imp, and this is your quick look back at the AEW week that was. 30 minutes of break on the beach, clear water, everybody. The Bake Air soundstage out by the beach, under a gazebo like a festival of wrestling, all sand and beach props scattered on the stage, yes, and the sand was used in the wrestling stuff more than once, yes. And there's something about wrestling in the setting sun, the only cost being that Excalibur had to plug the local tourism. So, oh, do you think this was maybe paid for by the Bake Air sound stuff? Oh, I hear there's quite a lot of Scientology investment in that area. Oh, it's a bit of a cost. There's a bit of a cost here. We did also get a commentary desk full of commentators in Hawaiian shirts, like cool dads. Or dads that think they're cool. I'm not really in on the Hawaiian t-shirt demographic. Don't know where you're at now. We also had a normal collision. I say normal. Hangman's just there. Like, oh, he's just turning up, is he? I fantasy booked so many scenarios in where Hangman could come up in my head. I had so many interesting twists and turns and the possibility of him showing up at the beach show. Instead, he does return the week of the beach show. He just does it in Virginia because he's the cowboy boy, so he turns up in Virginia, keeping himself well away from any championship scene as he figures himself out again. It's fair to say, quite the week. Oh yeah, Kenny Omega's bloody champion now. Quite the week in AEW, quite the week. Really directing us towards All In now. I said previously that the Owen Cup really does feel like, okay, that's what starts setting our road there. And every single week since then, I've done a pretty good job of building to our biggest matches, the card coming into a stronger focus. I'll always remember that first All In, where they did basically dick all. You got this huge show, this huge Wembley show, the one where they actually sold the most tickets for it. And in terms of like building up the card for the show, yeah, dick all. Dick all for that big show. Was really happy to see afterwards that they treated it as their biggest show, and then the road around it in terms of how that happens has slowly got stronger as well. We're in a really good place now, even though the tickets aren't flying away. It felt like a slight mistake to run Wembley again. They either took a year off, but 3 times in 4 years, we're near the second biggest wrestling promotion. Like, there isn't that buzz to do Wembley, to go for that massive stadium, to do that so many times. We're still 2 months out of the show. They've already broken their all-in number, so it's not going to be crap. Like, it's going to be a good number, but will it be a good Wembley number? They've put themselves together a properly strong main event, and the rest of the card already feels pretty spicy. So anyway, I told myself that I wouldn't rattle on too much, but looking at the timer already, and I've already rattled. I was trying to go for a nice, normal, easy time. So last week I went on for so long that I was 15 minutes over the recording like I wanted to do. I was like, oh bloody hell. Still got it edited down to a normal length. You guys don't know the pain. Anyway, let's start off with Tomasso Ciampa versus Jericho. Oh, I know we've got the Maxwell and Kenny Omega massive main event to talk about, but I've got a format here, and I rarely break it. I do break it. This maybe was worthy of other times, but I'm sticking with it. Tomasso Ciampa and Jericho in what was meant to be like a standard singles match, but really it was just a fun at the beach match. Really not shaking off the dad at the beach vibe brought on by the commentators. There's immediately these two wrestlers come out. Immediately two dads at the beach just hitting about. Yes. Anyway, Ciampa versus Jericho. It was silly from the start, but let's play a sound clip from it and then I'll jabber on about this beach show.
Now the sand into the eye of Jericho. Oh, God. I couldn't see it coming. 1, 2, 3.
So yeah, right from the get-go, Ciampa was thinking he's all smart, waiting to jump the guy from the stage, but the old Canadian man entered even wiser through the crowd. Judas continuing to play as he suplexed poor Ciampa through the beach chair, which obviously cut Ciampa open on the leg a bit. It's like, oh, you got cut from a beach chair thing. I mean, to be fair, Carl Fletcher did blade from a Super Nintendo within the past couple of weeks. It's fair to say the stupidest bit of blood was not from Ciampa. Felt like there was surely a commentator note to talk about the sand, but Taz just went, Ciampa's got a cut under his butt. I just didn't get the memo. The ad lead spot was lovely. Forgot what Ciampa calls it, but the butterfly wings thing, he lifted and face smashed into the top of the steps. You spot to get the headbutt flowing during the ad break. Air Raid Jones over here, another wonderful call by Taz as we return from the ads with Tomasso's Air Raid crash off Brett's rope. And why did they mention the sand earlier? Because of the sand. Ciampa with a bucket of sand. Got caught, but now there was sand everywhere. Oh dear. Led to a great flow with the dodge line salt followed by charging knees. The realisation that this feud will be continuing. Yay. Again. The walls locked in. Ciampa went for his bucket, but it was just ref Aubrey distraction. A handful of sand into the man's eyes. Now we got our proper charging knee finish and Ciampa wins. After the match went under the ring and he found his toolbox for the drill. Great. He's bringing his weapon back. He wasn't just for that one jokey bit in their brawl. The drill is now a weapon he's going to bring out, which he can never pay off. It sometimes happens in wrestling where they bring out a weapon that they can never pay off. Janice in TNA, which was very similar to Christian's big stick with toothbrush just blades. It's on the end of it. Like, they can never pay that off. They tried. Oh, I think Rob Van Dam did a whole thing where they had blood stuff. And obviously over here, Edge swung the thing into Christian's dick. But you can't pay those kind of things off. A working drill, there is no world this can ever pay off. So Ciampa's just a bit... He's going to try and use it to sell the anger he's got towards him. It does fit the over-the-top reaction to the actual quality of this feud and the fact that this is going to continue because it will only end when Jericho wins, which wasn't here. Black shirt security told him no. Then a sight of just how silly wrestling is as he punctured an inflatable and just let it spin on the drill as he exited whilst he's doing his serious mean mug like, yeah, I'm going to hold the drill, the crowds are going to cheer, and then I've got the inflatable spinning around on the drill whilst trying to look cool. It's like, yeah, but you got an inflatable spinning on a drill. This is silly. This is inherently silly. But yeah, I continue to have the same feelings I do with Jericho. For me, this feud, its best work has been Ciampa solo. Anytime it's not been solo, it's a shame he's cutting these promos on Jericho. And it's going to continue. Yay! But this was your very silly opener. As I said, we got to see a suplex onto a beach chair. We got to see sand very heavily involved. And was that the only match? Was it a setup for something later? It's all very silly stuff. In terms of the actual shape of the show, good. This is a great little opener actually to set the tone and get everybody excited for the rest of the show. You've got your pure great wrestling match immediately after this. So again, in terms of AEW doing that, every match feels different. You get a variety of wrestling on their shows. This was your silly, fun, day at the beach kind of violence kind of match. It had its place getting the crowd just into the show. It was a good opener. I'm not gonna slag it off for that in terms of what the match actually was and how it did. Not interested in the feud in the slightest, but I've given it some form of compliment in terms of its place on a show card. Yeah, it worked out. It did its job. And before I get into the rest of the show, I've got just a few other notes. There's loads of other notes for Collision. That was the one where you got characters actually cutting their little promos because there was just so much wrestling on this show. But a video play of Hater and Windsor beating up lads in a pub, mate. The pub sign was Brawling Birds, so by this AEW law is a pub in Florida called the Brawling Birds, and they were like, oh, we have to fucking go there. And they did. And for people to brawl, it was amazing. Best day of their life. I wouldn't shut up about it in terms of a level of coincidence. In terms of that. Jack Perry video talked about the fear of not living up to that potential placed upon him. Talk about how he does want to be champion. He wants to really put himself out there. But this video was really to showcase that he'd re-signed with AEW. The Jungle Man isn't going anywhere, and they made a big deal of it. Speedball! Mike Bailey backstage with Renee. They challenged Mark Davies to the national championship. We had a little sight of him out in the crowd and a little chin wag last week, but this week got the formal challenge because it was going to happen on Collision. And it ended up main eventing, and it was great, unsurprisingly. The AEW International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher. Oh yeah, here we go. With, in the kind words of Excalibur, popular sand in your crack, Don Callis joined on commentary. Me and the crowd were properly up for this one. Yes. I feel like I've done a really good job with the Okada Takeshita Fletcher, whilst also relying on the fact that we, the audience, know it's going to be a banging match. So a lot of the excitement comes from that, and then a lot of the play between the characters is built up in closer to an exciting, fun way. Could have very easily gone into you left the family kind of drama and treated it really there's a sense of playfulness to it, and I think that is because of Takeshita and Okada, and Fletcher's slot slotted in really well. He is the most intense of the characters. Okada's like an ultimate piss taker, and Takeshita does have an essence about that, about his character as well. But the other person who's up for this match was our very own front row Jeremy, our front row social suplex dad, wearing the social suplex tee as Kyle Fletcher posed, his muscles all taunting. Don't worry, Daddy Donovan stared him down. Kyle Fletcher stopped that posing soon after. Ad break flight as Keno's Cage Big Dive sent us in. This is awesome. During the ad break isn't actually, that's not something common you hear in AEW. Boo! Yay! In the ring once we were back for the wide panning jib shot. Blue Thunder Bomb, oh so beautiful. Rebound off the ropes as Callis sold how well these two know each other. Nay, apron Blue Thunder though. Not that kind of crazy today. That drive wheelbarrow suplex though. Yup, sure they can nail that on the apron. Reverse Rana stopped Kyle. Michinoku Driver stopped Takeshita. Back and forth with the other constantly snapping back. Looked like Konosuke had his moment. Corner up top tussling ended in a big ol' underpants assisted powerbomb. But Dickhead Callis distracted so he still didn't get that follow-up move. Neither did Kyle. His corner charge was all he was able to hit before getting slammed himself and having to survive another pin. Gradual rise and Fletcher in with an urgency and snap like he's Argentina 2-0 down. Another corner charge. Sheer drop brainbuster twisting and driving Takeshi's head onto that top turnbuckle. And new international champion Kyle Fletcher all ready for Okada to be all jealous and acting totally normal. I don't know if I should have been surprised that the amount of people were annoyed that Takeshi's reign was as short as it was when I was like, but he's going off to the G1. And that was my immediate reaction. Like my absolute straight reaction as soon as I saw that Takeshi was actually going to lose. It was when he hit the sheer drop brainbuster, I was like, oh wait, no, people don't kick out of that. He's actually won. And I was like, oh, of course he's going to the G1. So he's going to drop the title for that. But I did see a lot of super complaining, why on earth would Takeshi finally drop this belt here? Why on earth would he's chased it for so long? Because the only argument for me is he doesn't drop the title, he has it with him in Japan. But I think they want to build it up for All In, so they don't want it off TV. So the fix is give it to Fletcher because they don't want to give it back to Okada. And if the plan is the triple threat, just make sure one of them's got it. If it can't be Okada, it has to be Fletcher. With the only question mark being, is it weird if Fletcher drops it to Takeshita again at All In? If you are doing that triple threat, which would mean 2 All Ins in a row. Kyle Fletcher might have been meant to win to win a singles title and then ends up, because of different circumstances, ending up not winning it at the show. That said though, if you've got the big stadium show and you're in the ring with Takeshita and Okada, I think he's won. Like, that is proper character elevation from where he was. He was meant to be wrestling Adam Cole and ended up in that 4-way for the TNT title last year. But yes, Konosuke was off to wrestle against Yota Tsuji. They keep it strong style guys, they were there for that one. But yeah, absolutely fine for what this note hopefully sets up towards All In, because I hope that this is the note and Kyle goes in as the champion for All In. We get some animosity between him and Okada, and then we get Takeshita returning and inserting himself as well. That's my hope for their story. After the break was a little bit less fluid. The Don Callis family in the ring when Mick Foley's music hit. Commentator let us know this is his first time on TBS telly in 32 years. He interviewed Kyle Fletcher, did what he and Okada said they were going to do in bringing these titles back to the family. And a good chuckle for me as Foley talked about the dogs on his shoes and how he's going to introduce the left shoe dog Woofle to the inner confines of Callis' ass. It was the way that Foley delivered it, and he was selling that old man getting hyped up to do something when nothing's ever going to happen, but it works totally because Don Callis is scared of it happening. Like, he's such a total wuss that even old man Foley scares the shit out of him. So I love that. And to be fair, the rest of the characters, like Brian Cage is good at it as well. Just, it's the way that Don Callis sells his fear, and Brian Cage is really good at I need to be on and ready type of reaction to Don Callis selling his fear. It has a ripple effect, and it's all great. I love everything about the Don Callis family, and it's been on various shows that I've said, more men. Give that family more men. All the men. Don brought out Kevin Knight, who kind of chatted shit at Kyle. The Aussie sold an immediate present tension as well, like the man really not buying Kevin Knight. Young Kevin talked about the big AEW championship, which called out Andrade. Is what I mean by there were people coming out consecutively, but it felt like it wasn't the most natural of comings out. It was more narratively and plot-wise, this makes sense, it's the next person type of coming out. And Andrade must have been sweating buckets in his trench coat and full-piece suit. Promised to take a belt from the family. Don told him if he beats Jake Doyle, sure, he can get the meat grinder and challenge a Mark Davies national championship. You think you can beat me? How you know? And then he ran backstage. Knight, Davies and Doyle followed into Darby Allin, and like, no, not the backpack, because the backpack's got bad times in it. Let's get the skateboard instead. Cage got the skateboard and got boomed anyway, and comedic pan to Andrade with a remote control. Like, that was you, and how you know? At the moment, expecting the least normal redemption pay-per-view match between these lot. If this is the build and the setup, and you're playing off of the explosion, just silly times, like, oh, okay, these guys are going to be our silly tag. Maybe get some conglomeration friends in there as well. It's an absolutely silly multi-man tag. Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Workhorsemen. A quick quick wee dance for Papa Mox and his favourite boy. Mox let Henry get some kicks in, but really just to be a dick and show that he could take it. Ospreay the one to both get the flash and the working over. Hot tag to Mox, who was more no nonsense, needed to get his Marina Shafir slap to get fired up and charge at JD Drake. Teamwork surprise, willing to catch Drake and show his big strong boy side, hitting a Styles clash on the large gentleman. Paradigm shift DDTs the bugger, Hidden Blade ends him. Still not out through the crowd with the Death Riders, but Ospreay got another win here. You see them all happy and celebrating. And into the Casino Gauntlet, the number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship at Redemption. The hit ratio for these matches is normally pretty damn high. Speaking of, Mercedes was up high on the lifeguard seat on the stage to watch from on high. The woman looks tiny perched on the big seat, but it is important for later that we know it's there. So it did its job in terms of that. Tekla on commentary with a drink in hand. she was something else during this match. I was going to say glorious. I enjoyed her, but she was definitely something else. Was she advertiser friendly? Not really. but she was entertaining. On commentary to give her absolutely normal lines as usual, openly talking about wishing she was friends with Mina so she could motorboat her. It's like, and all the other commentators, every time Tekla said something like that, they would just be quiet and be like, Shiokara with the offense. Like, Excalibur has no ability to interact with any of that. Like, it happened with Toni Storm as well. Whenever Toni Storm would do her shtick and say anything lewd, Excalibur just became the most awkward man. Like, he had no ability to contend with it. The absolute best thing he could do was pretend it wasn't said and just move on. And the same here with Tekla. Into the match, number one Athena and number two Maya World kicked us off, not dragging their meeting out and just getting to serving us what was teased at Forbidden Door. We're not dragging this out to the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. With the benefit of there's going to be other lasses to pull them apart and keep them separate, keep them busy. Because I'm still assuming that is the match for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Number three, Sky Blue with a big kendo stick. No disqualifications as she just walloped World's stomach. Paid for it though. Athena just drove the woman into the steel stops and oof, it looked like shit to take. Number four, the previously stated Mina Shirakawa to welcome us back after the ad break. She and Maya World had a lovely wee wrestle. Rena hates Pink Devil still over here. She's one of the few smart bitches from the Joshi's former stablemate as she seemingly tried to remember whether she was meant to be on the working page with her or not. She tried to play it as like, I think I'm meant to be okay with her. Rena attacked Mina, booby shake, and got kicked for it. Julia Hart, number 6, for more Triangle of Madness weapons times. Yeah, from Tekla as they beat up security and Justin Roberts. Back from another weapon-filled ad break for number 7 Thunder Rosa. The spot with the chair on Sky Blue's stomach and the running foot stomp of a drop kick into it looked beautifully brutal. Got our first near fall with Rosa roaring after taking out Rena. O-Face. Mina stopped her soon after, ate an O-Face herself, and everybody jumped in to break it up. Number 8, surprise return, Willow Nightingale. Florida went crazy for her, lovely to see, and is Tekla in trouble? Because I just assumed the match was going to be Tekla versus Mercedes, and I felt like Tekla's had a strong enough reign to do that. That said, if Mercedes isn't the good character, who is? Willow Nightingale suddenly enters as our true babyface. Willow beat up everyone, Death Valley Driver to murder Athena on the apron too. Maya World and Sky Blue continued their ringside fun. Loved staying on the same camera as Julia Hart rolled up Willow in the ring. Cut for the counter and Babe Bomb, Willow wins. After the match, Tekla spear and Divine Dominion attacked the Spooky Sisters on the stage, which I guess is setting up a tag match, caused them in distraction, but for Mercedes to jump in and whack both women with the Owen Hart Championship. I didn't read that as Mercedes and Divine Dominion teaming up proper. I read it more as there was a world where it benefited each other, where they've got something with the Spooky Sisters. Mercedes wants to send her a message, so he's like, yeah, let's just do this. But it did do a good job of setting up both Redemption and All In, keeping Mercedes within the window of the title match. Like, they're not just fighting for the AEW Women's Championship at the pay-per-view, it is also for the big Wembley stage against Mercedes. And in that regard, in terms of making the All In match a really big deal, I think that they're doing a great job. Because I've been talking about for ages just how much I'm excited for Mercedes Tekla. Now I feel like I'm not getting it, but I'm also not upset about not getting it. Like, it feels like I'm absolutely fine getting super babyface, absolutely beloved Willow against Mercedes Moné. I think that's also going to be great. I think that's why I don't mind as much, even though Tekla's done all this great work with the championship, basically holding it up and ready for a big match. Anyway, transition time. Speaking of big matches, the main event for the AEW Championship, it may have been darker, but it was still about 30 degrees, or what's that in American? Was it Fahrenheit 80? I don't know it very well. But MJF versus Kenny Omega built up throughout the show, given all the pomp to feel like the biggest deal, and Florida did their part in reaction. 16 minutes left on the show at the bell, but F off with this going. 16 minutes, a proper overrun with this closer to 30? Like, this wasn't a little overrun, this is like a proper chunk. Friedman handed Justin Roberts a piece of paper for his announcing, and, well, I guess I've got to read it now. That's how it works. He is not from filthy Florida, the home of racism and incest. Like, bloody hell. Every now and then Max does a little thing like that, and it just gets me. A tad of a nasty spill right at the start, with very little room between the ring and the announce desk, making Kenny's rotation over a tad of a splat on his back, which does do a really good job of setting up later when we do come back to the announce desk, and there's not much of a gap between the apron and the announce desk because of what happened to Kenny here. Walk and brawl. Hey, we're taking this match long and it is hot as hell. Walk and brawl into the darkness because they didn't have the lighting or setup under this big gazebo. The setup of Mercedes on the high chair paid off and went back to that chair. Kenny Omega moonsaulting off of it into the sand. The second phase of the match entirely Kenny back in the ring for his Terminator dive, and then back in for that big leaping Fameasser thing. Just a full string of offense. That first tumble from Kenny then paid off here, with Max teasing a tombstone off the apron through the announce desk, and he instead ate a big boot to do a front flip comedic bump through the announce desk, properly pre-sawed in half in a perfect cut and with a big crash. MJF sold it like absolute death as well, and that was Max through the ad break. When we got back, we got Max's fun times. Tombstone onto a ringside chair, but that damage from the champion's already hurt knee. Kenny Omega got +1 action points for hitting the weak point. Got a free V-trigger in the middle of the ring. Not so easy to hit the one-winged angel though. V-trigger in the corner tied Kenny, slowly got Max up in the corner. MJF reversed Rana from on high. Good lord, Kenny. Took that with a spike. Heatseeker, 1-2, kick out. Crowd were loud as hell and chanted for Kenny as Max was set for his cheeky villain times. 100% in a Teddy defense previously. Doing a reverse Rana out the corner with the other guy properly spiking his head on it. It was like, okay, you're spiking your head because you're selling this like that. Bryce said no to the title. Full evil grin for the diamond ring when Will Ospreay snatched it off him. Now Kenny with the title. Max dropped to his knees. Kenny couldn't do it. He couldn't hit him. So Kenny got a swift kick to the dick. And the flow the crowd has seen a million times. So this is where you do your kick out at one. They've just seen all these tricks. They've seen all the distractions. Will Ospreay came out and he stopped that other distraction. This is the one that they weren't able to stop. Surely this is the end. Kick out at one. And recapped all of that because it was such a good build to amp for that final actual minute. Like that kick out of one was absolutely perfect. 3 V-triggers, one-winged angel, and new AEW champion Kenny Omega. Florida jumped in happiness, cheering out of their minds. What a great sight that was. And unsurprisingly, these two had an incredible match. Max again tried all of his tricks and failed. Also with his match-winning sequences of that reverse Rana into the Heatseeker failed. And in the end, it was Kenny Omega getting all amped up and in that unstoppable wrestler kind of thing in that closing flow. And immediately started hyping all in. It's like, okay, cool, now let's sell our tickets. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, main event, go, here we go. We just get under the hype trend right now. Because early in the show as well, they did set up a little beef between MJF and Will Ospreay, so maybe that's what we get at Redemption. Maybe we get MJF Ospreay in a little opportunity on the line. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the opportunity on the line type of stuff, MJF feels like he would be that kind of a dick. Like he's not just going to let it lie. He would like openly saying constantly throughout the whole Kenny Omega build for this match, like, you two are talking to each other as if you're the main event, but I'm the champion, so I'm the main event. It was constantly reminding him of that. So I feel like once he's lost the title, he's not just going to drop it. But yes, you don't need me to convince you that this was a great match. Like, if you're listening to this, you've already watched it, surely. This was like the biggest hyped match. Also, Trish gets to collect all of her stuff, being like ages ago through the social suplex reporting that this was going to be the planned main event. And oh, look at that, all the chickens coming home to roost. Oh, look at that. So congratulations to Kenny and Trish. That sounds like a sidebar. Anyway, let's jump on over to Roanoke, Virginia. Yeah, we've got a little away for Collision, not just down the road. And for me, a sleepy Collision viewing after a late night England World Cup game viewing, and a championship heavy Collision. So many championship defences, and yeah, he's back. He's just back, just on Collision in a social media. Oh, by the way, so, oh, cool. Right, so I guess that's what I'm kicking off with here. Hangman Page returns. Let's play the little sound clip of Hangers. I'm not decided if it's going to be a voice or just music. We'll see. Anyway, a little sound clip of Hangman Page's return.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Welcome back, Hangman Page!
And of course, being the former world champion, not the only thing Adam Page shares in common with Kenny Omega.
Hangman Adam Page, he's had a haircut, trim and tidy gardener Page. Literally jabbered on about his garden. As soon as he started talking, I was just like, yes. Yes. I don't know if you're going to lose the crowd talking about this, but I am engaged. Talking about how he found the gardening therapeutic. But he's here to plant one more seed. Brought up the loss to Max at Revolution, how he can no longer challenge for the AEW Championship, but bringing him back in this way does keep him fully away from any form of the AEW world title picture. He's not involved in some type of swerve post anger. He's not involved in any form of Maxwell getting his comeuppance. Like nothing, keeping him well away. And he's talking about other champions, other titles. It's still in the back of my head, that worry of what happened to Cody, but this feels like there's just a much stronger character and direction for what's going to happen. Am I thinking of forever is a long time? There might be a time when you need him and now you can't do it. But at least they've set it up in a world where the fans might start asking him to return to the title picture. Other wrestlers might, but he's the one keeping himself from doing it. He's the one keeping his word. And I feel like you can ride that out for quite a long time and very naturally twist the audience into wanting him to go back on his word by him constantly saying that he won't. In a bit of audience manipulation. It will take a long time, and I reckon if you keep doing this over like a 2-3 year period, that manipulation might pay off and work. It's a crazy idea, but I think it might go. He listed all the other possibilities, all the different roads for him, all the other little title pools he can dip into. TNT and Kevin Knight, Continental and Mox, International and Fletcher. Who is Hangman without the World Championship? He doesn't know, but we're damn sure going to find out. He's going to have to find something else to do, and you can bet your arse he will. And during the first match of the night, commentary was phrasing this promo as Hangman retooling his career. So it was a direct response to, well, what does he do next? He as a character doesn't know. There's all these different worlds he can go into, but he is here and he is going to be going to them. Maybe he's an all-in match for one of the titles. Kevin Knight was the first one he said, so he could do TNT. It makes sense for me to kind of echo what Cody did, so him going for the TNT title makes sense as that first step. Like, the international world's got its own stuff. He's got a history with Mox, but I feel like he's so tied up in the Ospreay thing, and you want to keep Hangman completely separate from the world title, so it makes sense to do like Kevin Knight versus Hangman at the show. Totally not against it. And I said earlier there were loads of other notes. We've got a ton of character stuff here on this show. So many little good characters talking to the camera in this show. So first we got the swirl backstage. The Demand walked in to interrupt, with Ricochet being a dickhead, and Matt Sydal called Ricochet bold and pelted it like a big brave man. Just went, "You're bold," and ran away quicker than anything. Ricochet was there, just left there to absolutely sell the anger with his gut fence and stuff, just holding him back, when he could have very easily just no-sold it. Just be like, you really going to drop that one and run away. Big brave Sydal. Cal Fletcher, with his new championship, ran through the upcoming night and week for his fellow Don Callis men. He was on commentary for the main event. I thought he was amazing on commentary for that match. We've got a recap of the Brawl in the Ballpark show after the Twins game at Target Field. Or, I don't know, Tony, that's a lot of nouns I don't know. Just, I don't know what those things mean. Sky Blue addressed the Divine Dominion one more tag time to the tall women before we get to that inevitable Brawling Birds Wembley moment. Later in the show, the champions had a sit-down promo, called them the Sisters of Stupid. Yeah, good one. Dug at their challengers that they can keep carrying Tekla's bags. Speaking of Tekla, she also sat on a chair, but she sat on it cool, relatable teacher style. Told Willow she needs to grow up if she wants the AEW Women's Championship because she's acting like a baby when Tekla is a real woman. There's only one thing more stupid than a dumb bitch. The Bang Bang Gang went to a real dog adoption centre. Yes. I can't wait for the talk about the dog centre stuff. But the possibly best day of filming ever. Colton got to hold a cute doggo and say, "He looks cute, but he's a nepo baby bitch." It's like, oh, damn it. That line finally made me actually laugh. Because he's saying it about a cute doggo. And they weren't kidding. Like, all of these dogs really are up for adoption. They generally went to an adoption care home. So this is finally, this stuff has paid off. And it's led to this. This absolutely worked for me. Yes, I was tricked by the dogs. Yes, that obviously was part of it. But finally, this paid off for me. The previous, like, old style VHS one, like, they were very goofy over the top, but it didn't really kind of bring me in. Obviously, the dogs were feuding with Edge and Christian as well, so it's like a side distraction, and Finlay and Connors would never mention the Bang Bang Gang. So they're going into all of this effort for this high-produced thing, and they would never mention them. Whilst now Jay White has returned and directly caused them to lose their tag title match, so the dogs are going to be coming after them, and they're still taking a piss, and for me this is far better than the previous one. I really enjoyed this. The bit, how was it working? Each dog was named after a member of the dogs, and they talked about these cute doggos as if they were these pieces of shit. And I think it really worked. Andrade, in a proper high quality video play, filmed on a boat with his abs out before the ocean under the sun. He's living his best life with his good blonde friend in a bikini, going to take that AEW championship Don was lying about getting for him for himself. So even though he's running through Don Callis' family, we're just still getting these little character reminders that his main focus is the AEW World Championship. He is currently wrapped up in this, but his constant reminders being like, when he's done with this, World Championship. Speaking of World Championships, the first match of the night was the Ring of Honor World Championship, Bandido versus Katsuyori Shibata. Bandido now the 5th longest reigning Ring of Honor World Champion in history. Lots of Shibata kicks before the ad break. Did a wonder to get Virginia chanting Bandido before the ops man distracted the ref and just hit him right in the penis. Back from break, round of applause for them both falling down after the strike exchange. Nay Froggy, shooting star surprise, only got a Bandido too. A pace about things as Shibata got his flow and got to hit his lovely corner baseball dropkick. There were some amazing gifs before New Japan claimed everything. And you could actually share New Japan stuff on Twitter. I remember one of the Shibata one with him just hitting his dropkick and he just flies. It looks incredible. Bandido had to try twice for each of his biggest offense. Up on the shoulders into the knee thing and the 21-20 finisher both got fended off on the first tries. Both chaps in opposite corners. The Bandit called out for the charge, but he was the one who lost out. Could have had another beat, but Shibata mucked up going for another swing at the man's dick. Bandido saw the arm coming and used that to roll up into a quick pin win. I really adore matches where they're making it very clear there's going to be a final act, a final burst, and then one of them mucks up and just loses, and none of that happens. Yes, applause. Because there was a rhythm building. They were very evidently going somewhere until a mistake happened, and it makes it feel like a mistake because we're clearly going somewhere. And yeah, I'm all for. Yes, I love it when a match does that. And Bandido's great, even though this is a very standard Teddy title match. It feels like a very odd position to put your Ring of Honor World Championship that's going to be main eventing a show within a month. But Bandido's just great. You get anybody into a match. The TBS Championship, Hikaru Shida versus Harley Cameron. Shida and Harley Cameron were backstage with Renee. The new champion has agreed to have her first defense against Harley because she truly believes the woman isn't on her level. Harley with the reminders of what she did when Shida was out. And then onto the match, just immediately. It's like, oh, this was all done because there is no setup for the match. Okay, just jump straight into it. Boo Baddie Shida attacked the woman as the ref held up the title. The new champion cheating for the quick, disrespectful win. They said it with words, but yay, we got to see Harley be treated like she shouldn't be in the match, then get to prove she's bloody well worthy. Got her flow and dropkick to the outside. Feel the wrath! That's what she sounds like, right? DDT outside. Uh-oh, not too effective. Soon found herself down the ramp with a Hikaru running knee hitting her face. Instead now, into the ad break with more disrespect, the champion just dragging the Aussie back down the ramp by the hair. Snap into that goody fight back as soon as we returned. Full momentum switch with Shida being the one having to find her way out and back on top. Submission back and forth rolly about times, both going for leg pain, both hit leg kicks afterwards anyway. Both kicked out. The leg pain came into the ending though. Cameron tied up bow and arrow on the mat and tapped out. Venom post-match beating up and Queen Aminata made the save. And hey, I was disappointed in the survival of the fittest match last week, but is it worth it if immediately the first two challenges are the two people I wanted to see elevated by the survival of the fittest match, and they're the two immediately getting the spotlight against Shida? But they're the numbers to build up the Shida title reign, and also they could have still done this and built them up in the match. Just a little bit. There could have been something in the match if you're doing Harley first. My assumption is this time last week they didn't know that's what they were doing. The conglomeration with a quick showing of the fun times Cassidy Khan and Roddy had at the ball game show, and they brought out Willow Nightingale out for the woman to get her moment of post-victory jabber. Great promo. Talked about not using the last 2 months to give up. Instead she used that time to get more motivated and focused. Now she's got her one more shot at redemption. Boo. How dare you. How dare you work the title of the baby into your promo. Told Tekka and Mercedes that they both made the same mistake of taking her smile for a weakness. Roddy handed her a backpack for a championship, and Mercedes, I'm the one you'll be fighting at All In. Just pure babyface passion motivation. Willow's really good at these kind of promos. Pure babyface motivation and fire. Absolutely believing all of it, which is harder than it looks. How many times have we seen somebody try to cut this kind of promo, and because the material isn't like incredible stuff, it just falls a bit flat? But for Willow, her delivery is great in this type of thing. Death Riders, Mox, Claudio Garcia and Yuta versus Commander and AR Fox and Top Flight. Second hour Death Rider tag times. Early control, ad break dives, more cheeky control when we returned. Naughty ringside stompy times called for more diving and springboard fun from the flying goodies, and Commander still runs those ropes, something incredible, just the way that he springboards and flies. Virginia having a whale of a time as AR Fox fought everyone off and flew out to ringside lads again and again. Cassie nearly had enough of that, into the giant swing for the bastard. Mott's back in ended up losing out his 2-on-1 against the Martins. That does sound less cool. I guess that's why they've not used that. They're going with Top Flight instead. Commander then the one in the handicap against Garcia and Yuta. Death Riders worked this time, but full 8-man rapid pace as AR Fox Swanton jumped in. Stardom faction corner chargers, Fox all alone and locked in the sharpshooter, Mox stomp and Garcia pin. Mox had the microphone after the match. Claudio just came back from Arena Mexico, where there's high altitude, but that's for people who are out of shape and can't keep up. Just pure amped up fire about winning that. Feels like a dig on all the English football pundits. Every single one of them being like, oh man, the altitude is going to be an absolutely massive problem. And Mox just immediately being like, that's because you're out of shape, you piece of crap. It's just him just like, yeah, we're amazing, we're awesome. Yeah, I really like where the Mox character is at the moment. Commentary described as a rock star feeling cult leader, kind of in a way. I wouldn't normally say that's how he always feels, but right now he's oozing that charisma because he's so happy with everything that with Ospreay's happening. I'm just waiting for that moment when that switches, when that flips. Brian Cage versus Zachary Vance. Big, strong Brian against an athletic fella he can both toss around and be a great base for. Lots of kicks from Vance trying to chop down the large muscly man, just to make sure each one's last swing of the sequence was a big springboard and a fancy spin. Them's is the wrestling rules. Spinning makes it hit harder because torque. But Cage knew that too. Straight back in with a clobbering inside out spinning lariat. And Drill Claw is the name of his suplex into the power driver finisher. Hit that for the win. All convincing Trent Beretta with the mic after his challenge to Darby. He's not come out, which means Darby ends afraid of him. Well, the referee's gonna have to do that count to 10, then give him his victory. The whole sequence treated like Darby wasn't there until his music hit. And yes, Virginia did go crazy. Trent Beretta versus Darby Allin. A flash, blink and you'll miss it, dive into ignition, immediately on the jump and flight outside. Big Brian distracted enough to Trent to get his licks in. Left to his own devices, old Dustin would have been in dust far, far quicker. The crowd will gate for this entire bit, like the atmosphere just shifted a tad whilst crazy Darby was out there diving and getting tossed about. Code Red off the top felt like it. The coffin drop right after certainly did though. Just a hot fire of a match, heated us fully through from this until post-match Brian Cage into bomb, Mark Davies in to help too, and Speedball out there to smoothly transition us into the main event. Matches just one after another, bam, bam, bam. Final 3 matches of the show, just one after the other. The post-match sequence just immediately brings out the next match and we get straight into it. And after a little video package play, we did go into it. The main event for the AEW National Championship, Mark Davies versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Big chops and dunk bombs from the large Aussie, stiff kicks and dives from the challenger. So of course the big bear man bit their toes, like, you, don't be doing that, Mark. You're better than that. Fletcher had the best night, jumping up and down on commentary as Big Dunk pile drove Speedball onto the announce desk, which cut them open on the top of their noggin for a bit of headblood too. Helped sell the fight for the final 10 minutes of the show though. Davies just clobbering and launching with Bailey countering with the odd kick. Like, hey, Mark can kick too. Enziguri sent them down to the corner. Inverted 450 from Bailey had Fletcher shouting, Jesus! It looked so damn good. The champion decided to end that moment and just drop them right on their head again. The floor seats on their feet for the final back and forth, with kick out after kick out in desperation from them both. Fletcher was so good on commentary, selling every single beat like they were all life and death. Big Dunk moved out the way for the next top rope inverted rotation. Ape and Fun Times ended in more me knees and again dropped Bailey onto their head with the drop. Speedball still not dead, spinning around the champion for a snap crucifix pin that still wasn't enough, and such a great snap pace to this, with Dunk snapped back up, still stiff as fuck lariat and gut wrench power driver to retain. Fletcher and Doyle join him in the ring and they all raise their titles on high. No post match angle, no brawling or anything, literally just holding the titles on high. Don and his family is amazing, yeah. They all hold everything up. Incredible main event. Another Collision leaving you on such a great note. There was really interesting character stuff this week because we had those long matches on Dynamite. It meant that all of the character work to send us into our next week was done on Collision. We got all of those video packages and we got the direction of Hangman, then the really strong main event, Mark Davies and Mike Bailey. Just 2 great shows this week. They had the special night on Wednesday with the Beach show and with the massively built up MJF Kenny Omega match. Like, that's the match that finally gives us our all-in main event. Like, finally we can see the road ahead. But yeah, with Wednesday being a special, Collision was then just a packed show. I thought it was great. And the last 3 matches, I really like that idea. Just have every single one of them really flow through the show. Because I swear they've done that in the middle of a show before, but to just do it for the entire ending, I thought that was a really great idea, especially after you've had such a big week as well, where you just end it so smoothly. So yeah, another great week for AEW, just casually just throwing out these incredible matches. It just almost on a whim. Because everything I hear come from the WWE side is that it's just stale and okay. And if a match is 3 and a bit stars, then they're like, oh, that was actually quite good. Whilst just casually, on a whim, by the way, the Collision main event's a banger. It's like, oh, okay. And just that being the perception as well as you go into All In. That's just great to have for the big Wembley show. We'll see if any of this shifts any tickets. My immediate vibe is they're not going to hit the second number they did, which is like 40-odd thousand. But we could be in the 30s, which is like for a big show that isn't WWE, is still a good number, but you're in Wembley, which means over half the stadium's going to be empty. So it depends what you're measuring the success as. A higher number than All In last year because it's a bigger stadium, but the stadium you're in is less full than the last time you're in it. There's different measurements to the success. For me personally, they need to stop running Wembley. If they come back to the UK within this short time frame again, don't run Wembley. If you can help it. You can't run a football stadium, annoyingly, which would be absolutely perfect because the football season will be underway and they need the pitches. They need to be kept in condition. You can't rip up the pitch to put down the wrestling stuff and then for the next week have the pitch back out again. It can't happen. But with Wembley, yeah, Wembley's built for all that stuff to happen. The pitch can get brought in the chunks that it's brought in. Like it's not the same thing. It's an arena designed to be switched about. So they can keep running Wembley, but it's going to be paying off less and less each and every time. They need to leave it for a bit. Not that I'm complaining that our country gets these massive big shows and on this grand big scale with such incredible wrestling. The shows themselves are the highlight because they are incredible. They just keep at this pace and really make sure that, for me, to make sure that's in the marketing, that this show just has such an incredible track record and you just build on it within the years. Look what happened to Wrestle Kingdom. It took a few years, but eventually that was there. Suddenly you've got that perception that this is the wrestling show. And it took a few years to generate that wide enough for it to be this thing where so many would tune into it. Anyway, really enjoyed this week of AEW. Obviously, incredible main events on both shows. Check them both out. If you're struggling for time, obviously it's MJF, Kenny Omega. Like, an absolutely massive show in terms of the build for their world title picture overall and everything. The story they're telling with Ospreay. It's starting to pay off. All those talks with Kenny Omega after the pay-per-views, it's all coming up. Anyway, I'll be back this time next week to talk about a normal Dynamite and Collision. I feel like I don't need to ask people what do they think of Beach Break because I think I already know. It was just a great show. A fun time at the beach with an incredible main event. If you have a differing opinion, if you're contrarian, I said that almost like, if you're a piece of shit. Anyway, with that, I say thank you for listening, engaging in any form, any manner. Always appreciated, never taken for granted. I'll be back this time next week. So with that, I bid you adieu. Ta-ra, duckies. Ta-ra.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.